Hello, this is Muho again from Osaka in English. Another question that gets asked a lot is, how do I get enlightened? And how do I know when I'm enlightened? Because we do practice Zen to get enlightened, don't we? We all know that the goal of Buddhist practice is to get enlightened and reach nirvana. So how does it work? And the answer to that, at least in the tradition where I studied, which is the anti-tradition, is no, we don't practice Zen to get enlightened. Zen is good for nothing. And unless you practice with this mind that it's good for nothing, with a non-gaining mind, unless you have this non-gaining mind that even lets go of enlightenment, then your practice will really be good for nothing. So when you practice with the idea, I want to get enlightened, you're far away from enlightenment or awakening. You could even say that it's exactly this idea, I need to get something, there's something missing right now and I hope to get it, maybe next month, maybe next year, or maybe in 3 years. I'm willing to practice hard for 3 years if I finally get this little thing that's missing in my life. And you call it enlightenment, satori, nirvana, whatever. And it's exactly this idea. I need just this little bit more that hinders you from realizing that you're already in nirvana. You've been in nirvana right from the start. The only thing that make you blind to the fact is that, but there's still something missing. There must be a little bit more on the other side of that hill. Does that mean that when we practice we never have some experiences? And during Zazen it sometimes happens that you feel, oh, something changed. And all this stuff that I read in the books and that Dogen writes about in the Shobogenzo, those are not just fairy tales, but I think now I know just a little bit more what all these masters were hinting at. Are those experiences maybe enlightenment after all? And how can I tell? And I would say, as long as you wonder, is this enlightenment? And how does my experience compare to the experience of Dogen and the experience of Shakyamuni? As long as you're wondering, you're still playing a game, and that's not enlightenment. So when you still think I'm completely unenlightened, I need to get enlightened in a couple of years, you're not enlightened. But when you think, oh, I got something, at least something, but you're still worrying about, well, is it good enough? You're not enlightened either. And actually, the worst form of delusion is when you finally have no doubts anymore. You get it. You get a grasp on something and you say, now I got it. Now I got it. That's the enlightenment. That's what Buddha got when he sat under the Bodhi tree and saw the morning star. I got it. I got it. And even when your teacher tells you, no, I'm not quite sure, you say no. Even you, my teacher, cannot convince me that I haven't got it. And when your wife or husband tells you, I'm not quite sure if you're enlightened, you won't believe them. You are 100% sure that you're enlightened. That's the worst form of delusion that exists. And fortunately, only very few of us drop into that hole that they think, without a doubt, that they are enlightened. So when you worry about if you're enlightened enough or what enlightenment is in the first place, one hint or something that for me was very interesting and inspiring are a few lines that Dogen writes in the Genjo Koan. And he writes that those who awaken to their delusion are the Buddhas. Those that realize that they are deluded are Buddhas. And those who delude themselves about enlightenment, those are ordinary suffering beings. So when you think that you are enlightened, or that you need to get more enlightened, that's a pretty sure sign that you're deluding yourself. While if you clearly realize that even after 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 years of practice, you're still deluded. Maybe you feel even more deluded than when you started. Maybe that's a good sign. Maybe it's a good sign. It also happens often when people sit for the first time and they have this idea, Zazen will help me to clear up my mind. It's gonna bring me down and help me relax. And then they sit for 15 minutes, maybe half an hour or full hour, and there's no peace in their mind. They often experience more thoughts and feelings than usual. In my usual life, it's not so bad, but when I sit down on the cushion, there's more delusions than usual. How come? How come that Zazen is increasing the amount of my delusion? And the answer to that question is, of course, it's not Zazen that's increasing the delusion. It's Zazen that increases the clarity of your mind. And because your mind becomes more clear, you see the delusion. You see the delusion in your mind. And of course, in that moment, you don't feel like a Buddha. You don't feel awakened. You realize quite clearly how unawakened you are. But that realization, paradoxically, is exactly what Dogen calls the realization of a Buddha. Only Buddhas realize how deluded they are. So if you, after 5, 10, 15 years of practice, haven't gained enlightenment yet, good. Maybe that's a good sign. If on the other hand you're 100% sure that you're enlightened, I'm afraid that I cannot help you. Thank you for watching anyway, and see you. Bye.